Hi, my name is Mike Albanese, and I would put tomatoes in my immigrant jam.
OMG, you didn't expect this one. Welcome back to Immigrant Jam, the podcast with me, your host, Lucy Pohl. And today is truly the specialist of special days because our guest today is the one and only Mike Albanese, who you have heard but never seen before on this podcast, if you're watching. If you're just listening, well, now you have to go to YouTube and watch because this vision of a man is here, our producer, amazing comedian, amazing man, amazing chef, amazing content creator.
Wow, it's like you
and
planned
lover.
this.
It is, yeah.
Lover?
Of tomatoes.
Oh, sure. There you go. He's trying to get
lover of tomatoes.
fruit.
Of fruit. Welcome, Mike Albanese.
Wow.
You look very disoriented.
We did it.
You're like looking around.
I'm not used to being on this side of this. I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. I get my own immigrant mug coffee.
Yeah,
Ooh.
you are in the Twilight Zone. Immigrant Jam is actually the Matrix. This is the glitch.
Can you clarify the immigrant part of this? I may look like a white guy, but I am.
Mike's family came here from Bella Italia.
Well, several.
And Germany.
And Germany, yeah. My dad is the first person on his side of the family born in America.
Yeah.
My aunt, grandparents, all that stuff, they're all German. I grew up that nothing German was bad.
Really?
My dad was like so hell-bent on, well, it's German.
So does your dad like tell people he's German?
Yeah, so
That's
he's
like part of his identity?
He's German Italian.
Yeah.
But his dad, who was the Italian side, he wasn't in the picture really. He was kind of a bit of a gambling.
A bit of a paloozy.
Bit of a gamble.
A paloozy.
A bit of an Italian. So he was just kind of like bouncing around doing his own thing. He owned a bar, he owned a restaurant, kind of.
In Philly?
In Philly, Jersey. He was also mobbed up. He wasn't like officially in the mob, but he was like a runaround guy. And actually, can I call him real quick? Because I want to get the name right.
What's your dad's name?
Salvatore.
Oh, okay.
So he's named
the
after.
Dad won name-wise.
Correct. So
yeah.
Salvatore Joseph. So it's various. And my name is Michael Salvatore Albanese, which you can't fit on the driver's license. The E is cut off on my middle name because it's just too many letters. But I'm going to call him and ask him the name. So I won't have him tell the story. I'll just have him tell the name.
Okay, great.
But the story is that on my christening, he had to go find his dad somewhere in Atlantic City to get him to come because he was just gambling, drinking, whatever. And I'm going to ask him real quick because I don't want to get the name wrong, but it's because I know who it is, but I don't want to say it is wrong.
So you hadn't seen his dad since
Yeah.
then?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, real quick, you're on a podcast, but just really quickly, can you answer this for me? You remember the story of you picking me up for the christening? My christening, you're picking up your dad?
Oh, yeah.
Who was your dad living with, or whose house did you pick him up from?
Well, he was living with a woman that he had been with for a number of years.
But who was the guy that was there, the mobster?
Oh, it wasn't at that house. He lived a couple of doors up.
And who was that?
Nicky Scarfo.
Okay, that was all. I just wanted to clarify the name because I didn't want to get it wrong. I'll call you later.
Thanks, Dad.
Okay,
All
bye-bye.
right, bye. Yeah, Nicky Scarfo, who was big in the Atlantic City mob. Because
I love that he doesn't ask any questions. He's like, of course,
sure,
this makes sense.
Scarfo.
Yeah.
And there's been a couple times, like when I was in college, he'd be like, "Are you near the computer? Or are you near a TV?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Turn on the History Channel." And I'll watch it with him, and he'll be like, "All right, that guy on the left, that's your dad, that's your grandfather." So there's photos of him like in and around like historical mob photos and stuff like that, where he's just kind of in the background.
And he came from Sicily? Where? Or where in Italy?
Yeah, he's Sicilian roots, but like it's a little murky on that side. We're not 100% sure, or we've never really dug up too much of it. But yeah, he was stationed in Germany, in Cologne during World War II. Met my grandmother, stole her, brought her back.
German?
Full German, didn't speak a word of English.
What was her name? Irmgard?
Adelheid.
Adelheid. Adelheid is such a German name.
She was the best. She is now dead. Died on my birthday.
This year?
No, a couple years ago, but on the
I'm
day of my
sorry.
birthday. Well,
Damn,
it
that
was
sucks.
kind of a bitch move on her part. Because now every year on Facebook, it's people remembering her, and I'm like, remember me? I'm still here. But she was the best. Like, the reason I cook is because of her.
But
like,
she had a German accent like this?
Oh, yeah.
Or how
and
did she talk?
Yeah, she talked very German. It didn't sound German to me, though, because I grew up with it. So it just was like, oh, that's my grandmother, how she talks.
That's how grandmothers talk.
It didn't sound like an accent to me. But yeah,
Oh,
and
wow.
then she got brought over on from him, and he left her,
Wow.
basically. Brought her over to a house in South Philly with all of his relatives, lived in the same house, and he went, okay, you're in charge now. And so she now became kind of the matriarch of a family that she didn't know, never met him before, is married into. Now she's cooking, cleaning, and he's out gambling, drinking, do whatever he wanted to do.
Wow.
And she had to then get like all these jobs. She was a seamstress, and like she would like custom make my dad's clothes when he was a kid because that's what she did. And so he had like they had no money, dirt poor. I've seen the house; it wasn't great. Or like it was this tiny little row home in South Philly, but he would have like the crispiest clothes with his initials in the collar and
Yeah.
stuff, and then my dad shared a bed with his grandmother until he was 15. Like it was that
What?
kind of like
Wow.
situation, and so she just kind of had to learn the language as she was, and then around her late 60s, early 70s, I believe, she had a stroke and forgot English.
Wow.
So she had to relearn the language a second time.
But so she had German, but she
Full German. Couldn't speak a word of English again,
that's
and had to relearn
so
English.
Crazy.
It was a little bit of like relearning English and then it coming back to her type of thing. But the stroke wiped out all of her like initial English
That's so
speakability. Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
That's like that person who woke up with like a Jamaican accent.
Yeah, that just did not
Imagine
happen.
your grandma woke up with a
talking about-
Jamaican
Are
accent.
you talking about Chet Hanks? I didn't know Chet Hanks had a stroke.
No, it's Rachel Dolezal.
Hilarious. So she's Jamaican now?
But seriously, that happened. That happened.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you
Yes.
never had an Jamaican accent before?
No, they never had a Jamaican accent
I don't
before. There's
know.
also a guy, Oliver Sacks wrote a whole book about a guy who had a stroke and then all of a sudden was able to like play the piano like fucking Mozart.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you induce a stroke? I'd love to
What
learn
if I
how
hit myself in the head right now?
I'd
a
love
lot
to
of
learn how to
times.
play the flute. I'd love to find an instrument, just like get knocked out, come back, everything's fine. Maybe a little dark spots in my eyes, but I can play the piano.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be awesome.
It's fine if half of my face is paralyzed as long
What would
as
you
I
be
can.
willing to give up physically,
To
like
play
an
the
ability
piano?
to do like be an expert at like an instrument?
Well, I'm already blind on one eye,
Stop it.
pretty much. So I already know what
Which
it's
one?
like, the right one. So if
Wait,
I
I
close
can't
my
tell
left,
which one. You're right.
my right, yeah, of
So
course.
that one. Yeah.
Mike goes, wait, I can't tell which one that is.
I still do this like, but I'll do it like hidden. I'll be like left, this left.
Yeah, so I can see you,
Well, you know
but
your
it's
that
like
eye's
all
closed,
smushed.
right?
No,
Maybe
that's
that's the
left
problem.
eye.
Maybe the whole time you're like, I can't see out of this eye. You're like, open it up. No shit.
Holy fuck!
Look at
I
that.
can see. Jesus is real. So I already know what it's like to have half a thing gone.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. The other half compensates. So I would give
Okay.
up half. Of
You already
stuff.
don't have an eyesight. Okay, so what would you give up? You can't say eyes because you already have
half an ear.
You'd give
half,
up
half
an ear? Hearing or just the ear?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
Oh, also the ear.
Yeah. All right.
I'm not that big of a fan of ears.
You also have hair.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you can cover it up. No one
You
would ever
have
know.
hair too,
But it's not covering up my ears.
but it could if you let it grow.
If I let it down, it would. It's pretty long actually. Right there. Yeah.
I'm not an ear person. Like I feel like I don't really like. It would look better without ears. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
I don't know. So I would give up an ear. I mean, what else is there to give up? Smell? No, I don't think I
No,
would
'cause
give
that's
up
taste.
smell. But so you did grow up with
Yes,
immigrants.
second generation, technically. Yeah. My
Yeah,
mom's side
right.
goes back to Ireland and then deeper back into France and England.
But they've been in America longer than your
well,
dad
we
said.
don't. It's tough because my grandmother was given up, adopted, abandoned. There's a murky thing there where we don't really know what happened.
Abandoned?
Yeah, there was
What?
like it was like her mom didn't do a thing, and then she got given to an aunt. But then it's like we don't. I don't know.
So
I've
she
asked.
didn't grow up with her mom.
She did.
Oh, okay.
But when she was a kid, when her mom was a kid, my grandmother, beyond her, it's tough to track. But her and my grandfather are Irish because back then, if an Irishman married somebody else, then you were the scum of the earth. That was a huge contention with my parents, was that because my dad's Italian, he grew up like with the Italian side of the family, so no Dago Wop is going to marry my daughter. Like that was because you're scum of the earth if you're an Italian back then. So it was a real tough.
So they were
look.
like this forbidden love.
Yeah, kind of.
They were like a Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, sure. But like the Philly version. Yeah. Yeah, Romeo. We're for out there, Romeo, dude. They were been together since they were 13. So I think
13.
Yeah, they kind of was one of those things of like they both came from bad homes. So they weren't like they're obviously there are worse off people, but they both came from like shitty homes, shitty situations. My grandmother was the best. My dad's mom, my mom's parents weren't. They were good to us. Like I loved my grandparents, but they had a rough childhood. So they were like they found each other and they were like, "This is what we're doing, and we're gonna get out together. We're gonna escape together this life."
And they're still together?
Yeah, sometimes you think they could get it split up. Sometimes it's like, as a kid, you don't want to get your parents divorced, but as an adult, I'm like, all right, go ahead. Feel free.
Why? Because they fight a lot?
They bicker.
But isn't it like
I think it's healthy.
Romantic? Yeah, it's romantic so now they've been together for what, 40 years?
Man, they celebrate every anniversary imaginable. This is the first time your mother and I held hands. I'm like, all right,
that's
cool.
So cute.
Yeah. My dad's a hopeless romantic, and he suffers from this thing I like to call pre-nostalgia, where he's nostalgic for things that haven't happened yet. Like he'll be like, if he sees on my website or I post something, a big show or something, he's like, just remember, take mental photos. This is the stuff you're going to want to remember. Oh, all right, Dad. And he means a lot, and I love him to death. He's the best. But sometimes it's like, the good old days haven't happened yet.
Are always happening right now. Yeah. But that's very Italian.
Yeah, I think so.
Sentimentalism.
Yeah,
sentimentality.
He's so sentimental. Yeah,
that's very Italian, not very German. Although I guess my dad's very sentimental too, and he's German.
Yeah.
My dad cries about everything.
Hilarious.
My dad cries so much.
Yeah.
Your grandma never tried to teach you German? Never spoke to you in German?
Oh, yeah, she did. She'd sing to us in German, and like, yeah, she was. We also grew up with the Peter. What's that Peter book? With the
Strohfelpeter.
Strohfelpeter, yeah. And I saw that the store, they had like a big thing where the guy was from, the author
Which is
or whatever.
kind of like the first inspiration for The Last of Us.
Really?
No, not at all.
I was like, how? Both terrifying.
Well, because
both
he has
if I watched both those as a youth.
He has the roots coming out of
yeah.
And The Last of Us?
I played the game. I haven't seen the movie.
The TV show, you mean? It's like it's like this fungus that infects all humans, and then they grow these like. So I feel like the Strohfelpeter was the first inspiration for that.
But I was just terrified of that thing as a kid, and it was always around. Yeah.
But as a kid, if people were like, "Where are you from?" or "What are you?" would you be like, "I'm German," or would you be like, "I'm Italian"? Because your name is so Italian. Albanese obviously is like the most Italian name ever.
People identify me as Italian.
Identify as that?
I don't know.
Or you didn't care?
No, I mean I cared, but not like to the sense where it was my identity. Because I didn't have to.
And you didn't also use it to like be special. I feel like a lot when I moved here as a kid, a lot of kids would be like, I mean, granted, I went to an international school and grew up in New York where everybody's from somewhere else, but I think a lot of kids also used it to be like, oh, I'm not American. I'm half Polish, and that's cool. You know what I mean? Or that's like special, or you know what I'm saying?
I, for the most part, grew up out like north of Atlanta, like in North Georgia. And so I think that being that different would have, I don't consciously know that was why I didn't, but like being different wasn't the good thing. Whereas I think in New York, you have to find like a different, or like a specific identity. Otherwise, you're going to get lost in the mix of all these different identities.
Yeah.
But there was like, you are this, you're like one or the other, So I don't ever remember it being a conscious thing, which I'm sure is fortunate, like to not have to have had make that identity type of thing.
Did your dad speak German or Italian?
Yeah, he spoke German.
Does he?
Yeah, he still kind of does. He doesn't use it that often, but he can like read. And like occasionally now, I haven't been able to in a long time because I took German classes and stuff like that. And my older sister went to German school. She went like after school. She lived in Germany for 6 months or something like that. So she speaks it a little bit more fluently than I do, but I don't have. I can like understand some of it. Like I can pick things out of the conversation that people are talking.
It's not like
but
foreign to you.
it's not as foreign as, Greek or something like that.
Yeah, right. This is the only country on earth where, because you're second generation, right? You were born here, your dad was born here, but still your family like carried on the traditions or like grew up with such a like conscious sort of awareness of where your ancestors are from. And this is the only country really on earth where people live that way. In every other country, you're so forced to assimilate, in quotes, that like people leave their cultural identities behind completely, right?
Yeah.
It's so crazy that like, you're second generation and still you have this connection to where your grandparents came from. I think that's so cool.
And in a weird way, because my grandmother was an incredible cook, but she was forced to make Italian food, which she'd never made before, because when she showed up in Philly, they were like, schnitzel, fuck out of here with that. It's a cutlet, so she had to like make Italian food and like to satisfy all these like necklace Italians, these scumbags. So she became an incredible Italian cook. And so that's my love. So that's why I said tomatoes, because I love, like, my favorite thing to do still to this day is make like a sauce. Like just sit and make a sauce all day, a 2-day sauce, a 3-day sauce. Like
What's your favorite sauce to make?
Tomato sauce. That's what I mean by sauce.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean? Like that's what Italians consider sauce, just tomato sauce?
I don't know, to be honest. And it kind of bums me when people be like, because I call it gravy once, and some goes, "It's only gravy if there's this or that." I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like you don't know how to make it. So
how do you make your tomato sauce? Can you tell us?
Yeah,
Is
absolutely.
It's
because it's the thing I love about non-American food, like immigrant food, let's call it, is that it's, at least for me, it's my favorite is how I'm eating it that moment. Because my favorite way that I make that tomato sauce is how I make it. And the way my dad makes it is no longer my favorite because I make it better. But it's also delicious. And I recognize that this is a delicious sauce. I recognize that this type of taco, while not necessarily the traditional one, but I can eat a traditional, real, legit taco. But then you go to Mexico, and there's 50 different ways that different families, cultures, whatever, make the taco within the country. So when someone goes, "This isn't how you do it," Italians seem to be the ones that do it the most. "It's not how you do it. The meatballs, you got to go left to right when you roll, not right to left." Like, shut the fuck up. Like, you don't know what you're talking about.
And also, they do shit that no Italian in Italy does. The Italian Americans.
They're not even really Italian.
Yeah, like chicken parm is never a thing in Italy. Yeah.
No.
Nobody
baked
eats
ziti?
that. No.
That's American, you dumbass. Hey, because real Italians are like, the ones here, Italian Americans are just loud, obnoxious, these bags of meat. But the ones there, they're these like skinny, greasy, like they're covered in oil, and they whisper when they talk. They're not just like, "Hey," they're like,
That's true. Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know where that
Unless
transition.
a good-looking woman walks by and then they come alive.
Yeah. I think it was because of when Italians immigrated, they were forced. They were like dog shit. Like nobody, they treated them like absolute trash when they first showed up, and so they had to build a bravado and like to protect themselves.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where that comes from, not from Italy, but from the transition from Italy to America.
And also, I think it comes from because they were, marginalized, they took on an even stronger identity than you do if you're just living in your country.
Pride in the thing that they had to become in order to survive, type of thing. Yeah,
but now you've distracted us enough from your recipe, Mike. We want to know your recipe.
No, it's the way I like to do it is olive oil, and I like using my La Creuset. Get it nice, and just when it starts to smoke, I rough cut. I usually like to slice garlic, tons of garlic. You think it's too much garlic, double it.
All right.
Because when it cooks down, it's just flavor. It's not garlic. It's not going to punch you. It's just going to add depth. I don't like it to onions. I like shallots because I think shallot has a much more developed flavor.
Okay.
Shallots in there, and then slowly, very low heat. So once you get it in there, you lower the heat, drop it, and let the cast iron of the thing drop the whole thing down and just let it melt.
How long?
You know what? There's no answer.
Yeah, but like 2 minutes or 10 minutes?
No, you could probably, you don't want to burn it. So just if you're keeping an eye on it and keep stirring it, you can do it for 10, 5, but 10-ish is probably the max you'd want to do. Little crushed red pepper.
That's what I was going to ask.
Or if you have access to like the jar.
MDMA, put that in too.
Sure. there's a
Oh,
spicy Italian pepper
Yeah.
that I love that you can put in there, and it's I don't know why the name is escaping me right now.
Calabrian
Calabrian
ones? Yeah.
chilies. Yeah, sorry. Wow.
Yeah.
Dice those up. Take the seeds out if you don't like it too spicy, but I put less in, more spice. It's fine. Let that go. Little salt, little pepper. I don't really fuck around with oregano. I think that kind of takes
Me neither.
away.
I agree. I agree.
I think it's too much. And then I put.
And then it tastes like pizza.
Yeah, there's
You know
this,
what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, maybe you're right. I never really made that connection. But then whole cans or cans of whole tomatoes, not crushed tomatoes.
Yep.
I'm a little bit of a dickhead when it comes to tomatoes because if I can get DOP tomatoes, I will
Right.
that are actually stamped from
San Marzano or whatever.
Yeah. And that's a brand name, San Marzano at this point, but you have to find the right ones. I don't really think it makes that big of a difference. I've done tomato taste testings, canned tomatoes, blind taste testings.
Really?
And
Where?
there's slight differences. So I used to work for I didn't get this big on accident. This is a well-planned early demise that I've created for myself. I used to work at this Scott's Pizza Tours.
Which
and
is,
so there was,
for people that don't know what it is, it's a New York pizza tour.
yeah, so we would do all kinds of like cheese tastings and like we'd go to farms or whatever it was because he's just obsessed. And so as tour guides, he would like take us all these great events. So then I use whole tomatoes, not pre-crushed.
Yep,
and then I
yep.
let it cook on the lowest setting you can get it.
Yep.
Lid as long as you can stand
Oh,
it.
you put a lid on it.
Yeah, because the moisture is important. I think you don't want to let the moisture escape too much because you're gonna eventually. The way I like to do it, and I'm not the only one. But then once it's cooked down, I like to take a hand blender or like an immersion blender and then blend it all the way in, and then let it go, and then you can take the lid off if it's too juicy. If you want to,
How long do you let it cook?
the longest I can go, 2 days.
Really?
Yeah, and then
2 days. Do you add water ever?
No. You don't have to put the lid on, let it go. If it's on super, super low simmer, it'll
Put a lid on, let it go.
Yeah, and then put it in the fridge overnight.
That
so
was
it
very
cools
Italian.
Down.
Put a lid on,
Put
let
a
it
lid
go.
on
Let it
her.
go. What?
Fridge overnight, then reheat it slowly. That's when it's going to be the best, in my opinion.
Do you freeze it or do you eat it immediately?
Freeze it.
I don't know. Maybe you freeze
Who's
it.
letting anything stay? It's gone. Freeze it. I'm sure if there was any left over, if
So
you're
that's it.
if
You
you're
put-
a bum and you don't finish your sauce,
You put no other spices. You put salt and pepper. Do you put sugar?
no.
Me neither. I never put sugar.
Tomatoes full of sugar.
I agree. I
Pectin.
agree. Who needs
It's
more
already in
sugar?
there. Yeah, and when you
Yeah.
cook it down that long, the sugars are going to come out.
Yep.
Sugar is there to
So you're a
stretch
purist.
it. I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
A tomato purist.
And I'll put a little basil at the end, maybe just to give it a little color. But I'll put basil. I like to put basil on whatever
Fresh
I'm
basil.
doing, for
Yeah.
obvious. But yeah, my grandmother used to let me stand on a stool and like cook with her, and like when I was a baby. And so I think like the early instinct of like cooking is fun. It's family. It's this. It's that.
Food is like the biggest messenger of culture that there is, right?
Yeah.
And the love for food and like expressing yourself through food and your culture through food.
Yeah.
You can't put words on that.
Yeah.
Right? Because the feeling, it's like, yeah, it and like you said, there's going to be so many different ways to make something, and each of those ways to make it expresses like a whole history of ancestors.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
it's so amazing and so
I love to cook
fascinating.
other cultures' food. I love to learn how to do it. I don't want
Yeah.
to cook for people. Like I cannot cook for two.
and that's definitely your grandma's influence.
I think that's like her, definitely her spirit in me. We used to go to the Kunststadt Festival every year
The
in
what?
Philly. It was called the Kunststadt Festival.
The cunt what?
Cunt Starter.
Cunt starter?
Kunststadt. It was a big German festival. That's what they called it. Maybe they all said it wrong. I
A
don't
bunch
know.
of cunts festival.
Yeah, but it was a giant German festival in Philly, and every year as kids we'd go. I was in the front page of the Philadelphia Inquirer in my Lederhosen, dancing around with my hat and my feather. Like we used to go every year.
So you had Lederhosen?
Oh yeah.
You're more
I
German
still
than most
might.
Germans I know that
Maybe,
live in
yeah,
Germany.
yeah. But it was like my grandmother wanted to grasped onto that when she had the ability to, and so my dad grew up she was always influencing him, and then we grew up going to these festivals, and my sister moved to Germany for a while. My parents went back and forth all the time, and but it was so much fun. It was all great German food. I was 6. They would let me drink beer. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
My grandmother used to give us beer when my parents because they were like, all right, but they weren't super into it. But I remember occasionally when she was babysitting, She have a little beer, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but this is great. Yeah. Shout out to Adelheid.
Shout out to grandmas in general.
For sure.
My grandma was the best too. I realized that because my grandma,
German grandmom or Romanian grandma?
Romanian. So my German
Not
grandma,
the German one.
No, my German grandma was called Irmgard, which is kind of on par with Adelheid name-wise, like German name-wise. It's like an old German name, Irmgard. Adelheid, you know what it means, right?
No.
Adel is aristocracy. Adelheid is like of aristocracy, basically.
Oh, okay. What would be the American version of that?
Of Adelheid?
Betsy? There's no Betsy's left.
For a while, the oldest woman on earth was Italian. And they interviewed her. She had no teeth. And they asked her what she eats every day. And she said...
Kill me.
No, she said, yeah, exactly. She said 1 raw egg and 2 biscotti.
How? How does she eat a biscotti?
The biscottis, you dip them and they get soft.
Ooh, maybe I should knock my teeth
1
out.
raw egg and 2...
Wait, yes, raw
Due
egg, yeah. Biscotti. That's the most Italian toothless shit I've ever heard.
I know, right? You should take like a White Lotus trip back to Italy.
I want
with
to
your dad.
so bad. Well, the Italian part wouldn't, it would be so foreign.
Yeah.
Because that side of the family wasn't really like active with like us growing up. It's the German side. We have met them, and But there's also like when I was there by myself, or me and my girlfriend were there on a different trip, and my dad was like, "Oh, you should go hang out with this one cousin who's near here. You've never met, but go have lunch." I go, "No, no, I'm not doing that because I don't know these people, and they don't know me. It's like why? I don't know. That's just that. Maybe that's my own
that's the
social
German
anxieties that
side.
are
That's like I hate strangers.
Yeah, I don't trust
family.
you. I don't trust.
My dad used to hide. Like my dad hated family so much that once my grandma came over with her sister and my dad hid and we had to pretend he wasn't home. And then he didn't want to meet the sister. He's like, I hate family. Family is like, I have no obligation to like somebody just because they're family. He had a rough upbringing. So he hid in our room. And then she was really funny and really nice. So I remember I was like 6 or something, going into the room and being like, Dad, she's really funny. And then he like came out and they were like, what the hell? And he was like, yeah, haha, I was sleeping. It was so weird.
When you were saying hiding, I was like, was he under the floorboards?
Yes. No, my dad's not the Jewish side. My dad's the German side. So he didn't need to go under floorboards.
He didn't have to go too far,
yeah. Since we're here at the Immigrant Jam headquarters podcast, the world wants to know, what's it like being a real American man?
Honestly, I'm better than all of you. No, it's, I love it. But I love that I have like roots that I was like close to and like grew up, because I think that is America. That is being American, is being other things. And I feel bad for true Americans that don't have lineage. Because I have friends that like growing up that they just like, they're just from the South, born, bred, dude. Like they got no connection to anything other than the 20 miles that they know. Or like, well, they're from Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, but we don't really know beyond that. And that's like, that sucks.
Why?
People say America has no culture, but I think American culture is other cultures. Like that's not like, and it's so stupid to say there's nothing that's American. Like there's no American. Yes, there is. Pizza's American. I'm sorry, Italy. Pizza's American. It is. Pizza's American. You guys started it. We made it better. End all be all. I'm sorry. And that's my opinion on pizza, and I'm sticking to it. Your pizza is great. Italian pizza is great. It ain't as good as some of the stuff we got here, unfortunately. Now, but that is America. We've brought it here.
The hubris is America.
The people of Italy brought it here.
That is America. Hubris.
Italians brought it here and made it better.
Okay.
They had more resources.
Why is it better? What just
the taste, the flavor, I also think pizza specifically, because when you do something so long at a place and you don't change it, you don't change with the time. You don't change with availability of ingredient. You don't change with availability of technology. And those things can improve certain processes. And so I think that there is something incredible about Italian pizza, but
But you're talking about New York because everywhere else in this country, the pizza is fucking atrocious.
I'm talking about New York, obviously, and Phoenix. There's one.
Phoenix?
There's this incredible pizza place in Phoenix.
Really?
That's considered the best pizza in the world. Actually,
What?
yeah.
By who?
This guy, something White. I can't remember his name, but he's. I've eaten there.
McWhite.
White. It's straight white. It's what
Straight
it's called.
white man. Okay. Wow. A lot
I
of
think
bold
that-
claims.
Claims, facts. But I think that what American is everything else. So I think that they're like that's why I feel bad that people that just have roots here or don't know that their roots are somewhere else. That's sad because America's so new, 300 years old, whatever. Like that's
500.
4 or 5 generations of people. That's it. Like you can have pictures of the people that started. You know they exist. So why aren't we? It just sucks that you don't know that far back and you can't grasp on anything else except for America, which that kind of America is brutal. Those type of Americans, I think, that's why they're angry and that's why they're so patriotic. And there's nothing wrong with being patriotic, but when your patriotism comes from the sake of patriotism.
Well, or when patriotism becomes nationalism.
Well, okay, there you go. That's the right I think that's the right way to separate those. Because the reason I love America is because of all the things that my family went through and did to get here and did to ingratiate me into those cultures. So it brings me to a point of being like, oh, this is why I'm American. My grandmother married a guy and then had to stay and stuck with it through pure hell. And now I'm here as a result of that of that decision, and now I get to be a part of America, which I think is great. Doesn't mean I don't. You give me an opportunity to move to Italy, Germany, London, whatever, Paris. I'm there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, you'd like to live outside of America?
Absolutely. But if I moved there, I would be American. I'd be an American living in Paris. I'd be an American living in London.
You'd be Emily in Paris.
I would. Well,
you are Emily in Paris.
It would be
really.
funnier. If
You're
I
the
did it.
real Emily in Paris.
yeah. It would be funnier. But yeah,
Guys,
I think
I don't know if you knew this, but Emily in Paris was based on Mike and his life.
And my hatred of Italian pizza. I think that's what makes me an American is the everything that came before me.
You know, people who don't have a connection to their roots, people you describe that are American and don't know, where their ancestors are from or had no connection growing up. That is when you become afraid of people and things you don't know scare you, right? And once you know, oh, my grandma was an immigrant and she had an accent. And she was, just a wonderful, loving, amazing person who wasn't trying to hurt anybody. Or, once you've met an undocumented person, you're like, oh, yeah, it's not their fault. It's not that they're taking anything away.
But also, like, there's something about even people that are just purely American, patriot, whatever, and you don't leave to see the rest of America.
Right.
And you claim America, this and that. It's like, but you've never left Alabama. You've never left Georgia. And I love this.
That's such a good point.
But that's another thing, too, is like I grew up in the South. So I left Philly. My parents took us to Georgia. And so I have claims to the South. And like I'm proud of some of the Southern parts of me. And it's people there specifically, like, and this is such a stupid example. But just the other day, there was on Below Deck, which is a great Bravo reality show. There was a bunch of Southern people in Norway, I believe it was one of them, Mediterranean, whatever. I can't remember which one.
Wait, Mediterranean?
They were in the Med, or they were in. There's 2 different versions of the show, and I can't remember which one they were at. But they were, let's call it Norway on that one, and they were like, "Well, we're in Norway on a yacht that we were on, a super yacht," and they're like, "Y'all don't have sweet tea? You got country ham?" It's like. Bitch, you're in Norway.
Yeah.
Like you can't not have
Herring.
sweet tea.
Yeah.
You can't have breakfast without country ham and a biscuit.
Yeah.
Fucking grow up. Like, why did you come here? Go to the Cracker Barrel and say that's vacation. Like that to me is sad. Like it's funny and
Yes,
it's ridiculous
it's true.
and it's
That
like
is
what
sad.
an idiot. But I'm like, man, how sad is it that you have access to this kind of money because you can rent a super yacht across the other side of the world and you show up and you're like, can y'all make biscuits with white flour or wheat flour? Because I don't do any other. Shut up. Enjoy it. Enjoy the thing that you go to. Go eat
the
pickled
fucking
herring.
Go eat it.
Seriously. Go eat the weird seagrass that they put in. Like, why don't you accept anyone else's culture.
But
you know
that's
why?
what it is.
Because you're stuck. You're stuck in that
And
bullshit
scared.
routine of the thing you know.
Yeah.
And that I think
You want
is
the thing you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it's because
exactly.
you come from nowhere. You come from nowhere. And I'll say that about most cultures. If you just only stay in France and then you leave France.
But the difference, it's harder to do that because Europe is so small and most other
Yeah.
places are so tight.
Yeah.
You know, you're just elbow to elbow with other cultures. And here, you're just floating on this fucking thing in the middle of nowhere and it's so big. You know
when
what I mean?
immigrants come here, people are assimilate, do America. No, America. It's like, but America is
Right.
all the other things. Like, it's not what you're saying it is.
But that's also because American culture is the like most exported thing in the world.
Sure.
Everybody consumes American culture.
Right.
American culture is kind of the like leading
Yeah.
culture, right? That people aspire to. People want to come here. That's the whole thing. So I think that's also why American tourists have that attitude when they go abroad. They're like, what do you mean you don't have the American food?
Yeah.
Like our shit is everywhere. You're supposed to speak English.
But what?
You know?
But why?
No, I
Why
agree.
can't you just enjoy what they have there?
Yeah, or be curious about it. That's the other
At
thing.
the
Be
very
curious.
least.
Yeah.
Or learn. Do you speak English in their language?
Yes.
Because just that little bit of respect.
Yeah.
If they speak English and you ask them in their language, I think you 180 that person's attitude because you at
Completely.
least gave a little bit of effort.
Yeah.
How do you say?
I have
Do you-
diarrhea in Norwegian. Your herring gave me diarrhea in Norwegian.
Yeah. I think that this is just off the. I just thought about this right now. I think that the American attitude, whether it's the one I'm projecting versus somebody else, is like religion.
That's true.
My America is different than your America is different than their America.
Right.
And we're all right because we're all wrong because it's so different for everybody. I'm never going to explain to somebody who grew up that has no roots anywhere else what it means or what it's like to have roots from somewhere else. They're never going to really get it. And I can't fault them for that. And just like I have roots elsewhere and I have no idea what it's like to be from somewhere fully
And only there.
and only from there. I mean, I am America because I am from America and that is what I am, but I also have like immediate roots back to.
But here's the thing that nobody's just from one place anyway.
Of course,
like
exactly.
migration is the most human
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
ever. We are all not from one place. So I think it's more about the curiosity. If you're curious and you look into, or you have the ability to look into where you're from, then you'll find you're not from one place. But I do think that was such a good, interesting point that some people have never left their state. And for me, you know, if you grow up in New York or live in New York, there's a joke, the map of the U.S. as seen by a New Yorker, where it's just like California and then like a question mark, maybe Texas, and the rest is just empty because
Yeah.
we don't know where anything is. You know, and I was kind of like that too. Every chance I had to travel somewhere, I would go to another country.
Yeah.
And then I started hosting these travel videos, and they like sent me to Wyoming, and it was like traveling to another country.
Yeah.
You know, like it blew my mind how different life is. How, I mean, obviously the beauty of it, but how little I understood and knew about this country.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that I feel I'm a part of or I grew up in. It's really, really amazing, I think.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild that
And it,
And
it
I-
makes you love it more, I think, because
Yeah.
you're like, oh my God, this country's amazing.
I just had my 20-year high school reunion, and there were people that are like, that I went to high school with that are like, you still living in New York? I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh man, I got to get up there one day. I'm like, you are pushing 40 and
Yeah.
you've never been to New York?
Yeah.
Like why?
Yeah,
And not
and
like New York's
fear, I
something
think.
different than like, go have a bite to eat. What's stopping you? Like, you've not been to New York? The hell are you doing?
Well, but I think
You never been
it's
to
a lot of
California? You never been to
fear.
Chicago?
No. A lot of it's fear. It's people are afraid, you know, to travel because they're afraid of things that are different and that they don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's sad.
That's
And
sad.
maybe that's not their fault.
No, maybe not.
Maybe it's built into them. Maybe it's just they never exposed to it. Maybe because they didn't have anywhere else
Right.
to any other cultures to draw from directly. Then they don't know. They know what they know and they like what they like.
Yeah.
Give me my goddamn sweet tea in the middle of Norway, and I ain't doing nothing else but doing that and my biscuits and my country ham and gravy.
All right.
By the way, can I say this? Sweet tea, country ham and gravy, fucking delicious. Not talking about not shit talking that southern
But
food.
sweet tea has to be sweet, right? Obviously. I've never had it before.
Do you want to take that back and try it again before you ask that? Are you sure you wanted to have asked that question? So do it the other way. Is unsweet tea supposed to be unsweet?
Yeah, is unsweetened tea considered sweet tea?
Yeah, but sweet tea, like real southern sweet tea, makes your teeth hurt.
Oh my God.
Like you can
I
feel
was
like your
just in
teeth
Miami
grind.
at the
They're
beach
so sweet.
like last week. There was a big group of they were like 50. They came and sat on the beach. They started blasting country music. And then they asked the waiter of the hotel. She was like, I'll have an iced tea. And he was like, oh, sorry, we don't have iced tea. And she went, you don't have iced tea?
Imagine
And her
the
day was
gall.
ruined.
Yeah.
And also, though, on that same note, I was like, you're blasting country music at the fucking beach in Miami?
That's
What the
fine.
fuck? No, it's not.
I don't know. I hear
didn't
country
fucking
music
come
here all the
To
time.
fucking listen to country music at the beach in fucking Miami? Get the fuck out of
Oh,
here.
okay. Blasting music, get fucked.
Get fucked, yes.
But yeah, country music, whatever. Like I go to bodegas now and they're blasting country music. It's strange right now. Country music is infiltrating a lot of places right now.
No, they were the OG country music
Right.
listeners. I was like, you can't live without listening to country music for 5 minutes. You're at the fucking beach in Miami.
We flew down our own Miller High Lives. I ain't got them down here. Oh, really? You can't go a vacation without this one specific thing you do all the time? Why are you on vacation?
Right.
Go
the point
home.
is, free your
Get
mind.
out of my
and
state.
get out
Get out
my
of the state that I
country.
also don't live in.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
swear to God, man.
But it's
people blow
funny.
my
I mean,
mind.
it's so interesting. I have a friend down there who complains about all the immigrants who don't speak English. But
In
she's
where?
also an immigrant.
Where is
in,
this?
in Miami.
Oh, yeah.
But she's also an immigrant
Sure.
who has an accent.
Sure.
And I'm like, what? She's like, but you can't communicate with these people. I'm like, but you maybe they're learning English right now.
Right.
Anyway.
I know English is not the language here. Like, there's no official language, but there is.
Where?
There in America.
What do you mean there's no official language?
There's no official like. English is not the official language of America.
Really?
100%.
Huh.
There is no official language.
Money's the official
Yeah,
language
the official
of
language
America.
is power.
Benjamin Franklin, bitch.
The language of America is the stock market. Tesla. Get some.
Okay, we have to play the poll questionnaire, but
Very
do I
excited.
change it
No.
for you?
Why not?
No. Okay.
Let's just do it the same way.
All right, Mike Albanese.
Don't do anything special for me just because I'm American. I know I expect special treatment because I'm from country numero uno.
Mike Albanese of Philadelphia, of Atlanta, of sweet tea heaven, kingdom may come. Don't
sweet
forget
tea.
the sugar in the sweet tea. Of slow cooking sauce ancestry. Of Adelheid, of Salvatore, the first and the second.
You know, when you start putting all this together, it's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
It sounds good. I've never
What
really.
was the mob boss's name again? Scanti?
Nicky Scarfo.
Nicky Scarfo. Scanti. I made that up. Nicky Scarfo.
Nicky Scarfo.
The third of his name. Mm-hmm. Are you ready for the poll
I've
questionnaire?
never been readier for a questionnaire in my life.
Okay. Mike Albanese.
Yeah.
If you as in you,
Me as in me.
had to ban one American food, what would you ban?
Pre-shredded cheese.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very specific.
It's an abomination.
Okay. Why?
It's coated in cellulose.
Ugh.
If you look
Like
at the
stuff
packaging,
that women have in their ass?
maybe I'm saying that word wrong. That's cellulite.
That's cellulite.
Cellulose is like it's a preservative to keep it from clumping. And so it changes the way it melts, it changes the way it tastes, it changes the mouthfeel.
Gross.
Parmesan cheese, pre-shredded, pre-grated Parmesan cheese, it's got sawdust in it, it's got all kinds of crazy shit.
Yeah.
I think all that's... Now, I understand the convenience of it, but for me, I don't want it.
I don't ever do it either.
Yeah. Okay.
My jacket just fell on the floor because I guess it works
Apparently,
for shredded
the
cheese.
Kraft Corporation has can hear what we're doing in here. It's just throwing shit off the walls.
But all of that is very American.
Absolutely, yeah. Convenience.
Convenience.
And
Exactly.
I don't hate you for using shredded cheese because it's convenient. Just like people get mad at Walmart. Oh, it took away. Yeah, okay, cool. But it did it, and we're here now, and it's so necessary for certain demographics of people to have that cheap option. So it's like, Walmart shouldn't have taken over and killed all those family businesses, but we're here now. And we need this inexpensive option. So how do we deal from here?
Right.
You know, so like you can hate it, but you can also understand why it's there.
Yeah, or it could be nicer if people made more money and got more money.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, no,
From the government.
that's not me standing for Walmart. That's me just saying I understand
Mike
why we
loves
need it.
Walmart.
Yeah, I'm a big Walmart guy. My girlfriend had to buy something from Walmart the other day, or she chose Walmart over Amazon. She goes, I can't give it to Amazon. I'm going to give it to Walmart. I go, Amazon has made us think that Walmart is a mom and pop.
I know, right? That's hilarious.
So no one ever saw
That's
that
great.
coming.
Okay, if you had to eat one American person, who would you eat?
Oh, I've actually thought about this a lot. But not since before this podcast, before I was involved, and since. I think I would eat Paris Hilton.
Bony, though.
No,
Why?
she's the Wagyu of people.
You think she's very massaged?
She's been heavily massaged,
Okay.
pampered. So if you take the same variables,
But
for
she's full of chemicals. She must take at least 15 different prescription pills a day.
okay,
consider
I
that.
want a little of that seeped into me. I don't want you never
She's
had
full
a
of preservatives,
you never had a
too.
weed brownie and had a great time. If you take the same variables of the Wagyu, I think she's the Wagyu of people.
I think you're wrong. She has fillers, Botox.
I'm not
There's-
eating her face.
Oh, what are you
I'm not
eating?
eating her lips, her butt a little bit. Maybe a wing, maybe a leg.
Okay, I don't think this is
Ribs?
about how you think.
No,
Paris
it's not
Hilton.
sexual even remotely. I
Okay.
think that she's just a very highly pampered. Pick any rich.
But Oprah's very pampered. More meat, though.
Ooh,
And it seems like there's
interesting.
less chemicals maybe in there.
And
Maybe
she
not.
does probably have more meat on those bones.
More meat. Yeah.
I would like to change my answer
Okay. To Oprah?
to Oprah.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Okay.
Did I win?
Yeah. Ding, 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 ding.
But because of the Wagyu part, not because I disrespect Oprah, but because I think she would taste good.
Okay. Just any heavily massaged celebrity.
Any heavily pampered
Mm-hmm.
person. Person.
Okay. Tender.
Woman, because
More
we
tender.
eat female cows. So if I'm going to go with that Wagyu train of thought, I got to stay with it.
What do you mean we eat female cows?
Well, we don't eat bulls. We eat
Oh, right,
cows.
that's true.
We
Yeah, yeah.
heifers. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So sorry, broads, you're getting 8.
Okay. If you had to deport one American person, who would you deport? Or if you had to deport one immigrant, who would you deport? We're getting Mike Albanese canceled on this.
Well, there's somebody I would deport that we were talking about before the show, but we're not going to talk about it now. I would deport, if I had to deport one American person, it would be. I've actually struggled a lot with this as I watch this happen every week, and I don't have an instant answer, which I
Okay.
feel like I should have. But if I were to deport somebody, no one's really said Trump on this show.
Yeah, they have.
Or
In the
like
early
one or
days.
two, yeah. But it's not. I think that's getting him off too easy. He's
Right.
just go live his life.
Because he'll go somewhere else.
Because I don't
yeah.
think he likes America. You know, I think
He
he's
doesn't like anything.
no.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a benefit to him. I think I would get rid of right now today. Let's just get Elon out of here.
Elon?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
just like he's such a phony.
Yeah, he
he's never
sucks.
invented anything.
No.
He's a snake oil, a rich kid snake oil salesman.
Yeah.
And I think that this country, and I used to like him. I think it was cool, but he's a scam artist
You
who
used to
comes
like
from a
him?
ton of money. I didn't like him, but I respected him. Like I was excited about Tesla. I was excited
Right,
about the
okay.
Cybertruck. Like, oh, this is so cool. But when you really dig in, and this is mostly from my girlfriend because she's like researches all this stuff. Like for her, she has a podcast and stuff like that.
Yeah. What's it
But
called?
yeah, corporate gossip.
Corporate gossip.
Filmed right here in the studio.
Oh my God. What a coincidence.
How did that work? That's nepotism at its best. Yeah, I think get rid of that guy today.
I like that.
But ask me tomorrow, I'll have somebody else.
No, I mean, there are so many,
Yeah.
but I think that's good. And also, how can you be the richest guy on earth and be okay with that? And be like, yep, I'm the richest guy on earth. If I was the richest person on earth, I would immediately get rid of so much wealth that I would no longer be the richest person on earth.
It's tough. It's a tough conundrum to be what is American, which is the land of the free home of the brave, whatever, but also like unlimited wealth. That was kind of like the beginnings
Yeah.
of America was
Right.
go find your fortunes.
Right.
And now we're saying too much fortune. I think that you should be able to have, and this is not at all what we just went down a different path, but you should be able to, as an American, be able to make as much goddamn money as you can possibly fucking make. As long as you aren't getting that money on the backs of other people that you treat poorly.
But that's impossible.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
so unlimited wealth has a limit.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
like you can't underpay, undercut, fuck over the people that actually sweated to get you where you are and make that kind of money. You
Yeah.
shouldn't have to. You should
Right.
be able to do it the right way.
Yeah.
And also, you only have $70 billion as a
Exactly.
result? Fuck off.
Fuck off. And if you
Also,
have
if you're
70 billion,
investing in
though,
anything,
yeah, exactly.
I got
We're
a
here.
studio.
Yeah.
I want to
The podcast, there's a
expand.
Patreon. You know, if you have 70 billion, give a billion
Give a
to Patreon. You can make a
couple.
one-time donation to
Yeah.
Patreon. You don't have to become a monthly subscriber. If you just want to give 1 billion once,
Patreon.com/immigrant jam.
/Lucy Poll, and it's
Oh,
tax
/Lucy Poll, I meant.
deductible.
Yeah.
You
Of
know?
course.
Yeah, of course. Just do it. Okay. If you had to make up a catchphrase for the U.S., what would it be?
If I had to make a catchphrase for America, it would be, it's gravy, not sauce. It's my catchphrase for America. You do what you want.
Okay, and if you were casting a movie about the Statue of Liberty, who would you cast?
Oh, I'm going to go back to Oprah.
Oprah? I like that.
I like that a lot
Yeah,
because
I
she's
like
such an underrated actress.
No, she's not. She
Yeah,
won
she's-
an Oscar.
Well, she won an Oscar because she's Oprah. I don't think she won because of her performance. That being said, she was incredible and is an incredible
Yeah,
actress.
she is a really good actress.
And I think she'd make a great Statue of Liberty.
she would.
I think she represents a lot of what America is.
That's true.
Comes from not a lot,
Yep.
made it to the top.
Yep.
She's good to a lot of people.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we think.
She is
at
America.
least.
Ooh,
Yeah.
She's delicious.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
Okay. I hope you've thought about this one.
Oh, I have an answer for this one.
Okay. Mike Albanese, do you know how I can meet David Hasselhoff? God damn it.
So I'm going to answer that in reverse. I'm going to tell you how not to meet David
Okay.
Hasselhoff.
I like it.
Do not reach out to his managers or agents on more than one occasion
Thank you.
because I have, and they have not responded to a single request from me that I was behind your back doing to try to get him on this show.
Way.
And they still
Oh my
yet to
God,
respond
I'm
to
gonna
me.
Cry.
They still yet to respond to me.
Oh, Mike.
They do not-
So funny. You
they-
reached out to his
Yeah,
manager?
management, agency, bookers, whoever's I can find listed, and no one's ever
We're going to get a
responded to requests for
restraining
interview.
order in the
That's fine.
mail. We're
None of them were malicious yet.
Wow.
They're gonna be though if this guy doesn't get back to me. I bet you if he knew, if he was he actually was communicated to come to the show, call in, whatever, send a message.
Yes,
He
call
would.
in.
He would. But we just got to get it to him. And I was going to keep that to myself until it happened. But you know,
This is a
I
very
also didn't think I was going to be on the
special
show, so now I'm here to do it.
Wow. This is a very, very special moment. I don't even know what to say right now. I'm so touched.
I'm trying to produce.
Well, were you going to just have him sit in a chair behind me and then come to life?
That would have been great.
And be like, "Wah."
How long until you realized it was him there? You go like this, Lucy.
And then I have a stroke and forget that I like David Hasselhoff. And I'm like, who is this man? I don't speak English anymore.
That's so funny.
And I think
you have
my
to
name is
relearn it.
Adelheid.
All you learn it is in his songs. That's how you learn it.
That's the only thing I know how to
Name
say.
one David Hasselhoff song right now. Go.
Crazy for you.
Okay. Well, you're
Limbo.
a real fan. Okay.
Oh my God. Are
I
you
always
kidding
believed
me?
you, but it would be fun if I could have
I've
stumped
been
you.
looking for freedom. Stumped me? Are you
just
fucking
asking.
joking?
Sometimes
I've
it's-
been looking for freedom.
That's been the Immigrant Jam podcast, folks.
Wow, this has been the most special episode that was ever made at Immigrant Jam headquarters. We had Immigrant Jam podcast producer extraordinaire Mike
Second gen.
Albanese on the podcast, friend, comedian, chef,
Lover
man about to
of
lover
tomatoes.
of tomatoes. And not only did we have Mike on, we had Mike's dad on.
He made
That
an
was
appearance.
fucking epic.
That was a good time.
That made me want to call my dad. I'm going to do that
We
at
should
some
do
point
that.
in the future.
Let's do a call. Let's do a
We
call
should.
in with him, and it'll just be you and him. We'll put
Yeah.
a picture.
Yeah.
I'll like put a picture here of him, and
It'll
then you
be
just do
a
a
little
call.
sad though because his English is pretty bad. So
Just talk to him how you
it's
can
not
talk to
that
him.
bad. It's
It
actually
could be a short
really
episode. It
funny.
could be like a 20-minute little 10-minute
yeah,
thing.
and his
yeah.
English is just so funny. It's so funny.
Would he come in?
Yeah, he would come in
Let's
if he
bring
was
him
in the city. Yeah.
in.
Yeah. Oh, he
Yeah.
would come in.
That's great.
He would fucking that would be it for me. People would be like,
I'm
we
speaking
don't
out of the mug.
we don't want Lucy here anymore. We only want Klaus. He's a
Hilarious.
fucking ham and a half. We have Mike Albanese on the podcast, expanding into unprecedented territories of second generation immigrants. Yeah, okay, we can do that here. All right. because
It's very inclusive.
Yeah, exactly. It's very inclusive. Mike, that was a fascinating story.
great
We
time.
love your grandma, Adelheid.
The best.
We need a picture of her. We need that picture of her
Yeah.
to show to people.
Sure.
And if you listen to this episode,
I'll put it right here. It's
Yeah,
right
put
here,
it right here.
right now. There it is.
there it is
So that means you got to follow the show on YouTube to
on
see it.
YouTube. Also, make the sauce. Make the Mike
I'll bring in
Albanese
some
sauce.
sauce.
Bring in
I'll
some
bring in
sauce.
some
I
sauce.
made sauce like yesterday. I made bolognese, although I don't eat meat. Love it. I love making sauce too. I love slow cooking shit.
It's the best.
Yeah, it's the
I've been
best.
really into birria lately.
Iberia?
No, birria.
Oh.
It's like a slow roasted. It's supposed to be like goat, but a beat like a chuck, and into like taco soups, all kinds of cool stuff. It's like it's like a Mexican consomme with beef and all.
Well, that being said, Mike has a cooking show.
Yeah, I have a TikTok where I cook.
Right.
Eat Mike.
Eat Mike.
Is my TikTok. I just put up a birria one. Now that I'm talking about it, it was a ramen birria, and my
Wow.
theory was if I'm going to appropriate one culture, just go do two. And so I made ramen birria.
Yeah,
you
go
can check that out.
follow
Yeah, sure.
Mike.
Yeah.
Eat Mike.
Eat Mike.
At-
Or
on
just go to
TikTok.
inmyownhead.com. That's my website. It's got all my dates. I'm touring a lot now.
And it's the
as a
head, not the
comedian.
penis.
Yeah, in
so
my
stop.
own head.
Okay?
Hey, it's up for interpretation,
Yeah,
just
right.
like Immigrant Jam.
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
however you want to decide.
Yeah.
But I got a lot of shows, and if you're in New York,
Yep.
I run a monthly.
Very fun show, Comb
yeah, that's
Over
right, you just did
Comedy. I
it.
just did it. So fun in Long Island City. Go check out everything Mike does. And
February
on
24th
Instagram,
is the next one.
February 24th is the next one. On Instagram, you are
Big Man Mike
Big Man Mike.
on basically everything. But my website's got links to all of it, so
Eat
you can
Mike
check that out.
website in your own
I have
head.
too many TikToks.
No,
I have
in
one
my
called
own head.
inmyownhead.com.
Yeah,
I have a
.com.
TikTok where I do scams. I love scams.
What?
Called
Really?
At Art of the Scam. I've stretched myself too thin.
I love it. Okay,
need to
check
focus.
out everything Mike does. And now you've seen him, the face behind the microphone, the man who chimes in to correct us when we say upside down keg stands and want to deport Doritos
Yep.
and ban cheese.
I'm here to keep these immigrants in check.
That's right. Wow, Mike Albanese, thank you so much
Thanks
for
for
being
having me.
here.
This is fun.
This was
What
so
a happy
fun.
accident.
What a happy
This is
accident.
great, yeah.
And please go rate the show on iTunes. Leave a little review, 5 stars only, baby. Tell a friend, tell an enemy. Thank you to Craig. Thank you to Douchebag Steve. Thank you to everybody who likes to squeeze chickens.
Everyone does that towards the end. They finally
They
show
do.
us like, I want to do it since
Yeah.
everyone does it.
They work up the courage.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they don't know why it's there. And neither do we. Goodbye. If you liked what you just heard, don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, recommend to all your friends, and if you hated it, recommend it to your enemies. Thank you for listening to Immigrant Jam, the podcast with me, Lucy Pohl. Have a delicious and nutritious day.